Good. Okay, being 6 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. The first order of business is the pledge of the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll approve the minutes of August 3rd.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, but I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? So none. All those in favor? Sarah. Members' reports. We'll start with
No, all good.
Lindsay. What's that? The only thing I had, I see they mowed the infields, and that was probably the right thing to do down there. They were getting out on the ball fields.
Oh, yes, they did that late yesterday.
So, yeah, that looks good. Yeah, that's all I had. Okay. We'll go right to the town manager.
So yesterday we completed our audit with MMA Risk Management for workers' compensation compliance, and our safety audit. They review all of our policies and everything, and they spot check facilities. So we came out of that golden. That leaves us at the top tier level for their incentive program. So we will continue with our 10% reduction in workers' compensation rates. Mill rate, that's at $11.65 per thousand. Those tax bills were mailed this morning. They'll be due on the 20th of September. For most residents, it'll be flat or slightly down. If there were adjustments, the mill rate is down, but there were adjustments to value that covered off on that. So we will expect some questions there, but all in all, most folks should be pleased with their tax bill. The planning board has received comment from the town attorney regarding proposed solar regulations and the integration into the site plan review ordinance. That's posted on the solar regulation portion of the webpage with the attorney comments as well as the draft ordinance. The planning board has not reviewed that yet. So we'll know more about that second Thursday of September. The Good Shepherd Food Bank grant opportunity that's been coordinated through Somerset County. I applied for a grant with them. It's up to 100,000. I'm asking for 100,000 to kickstart the establishment of a food pantry here in Norridgewock. That application has since been moved into phase 2, which is going to be interviews requiring a presentation about our grant and then a Q&A session for about 15 minutes. So that I'm going to do that with the selection committee on August 31st in an attempt to try to fund a project there locally. And then also have a representative with a meeting with a representative from the New Balance Foundation next week to discuss additional funding opportunities, as well as USDA opportunities for community resilience. That's some COVID money that's kicking around. $50,000 is available there. A few other pools that we're looking into in the hopes of being able to do something locally to meet a need with zero impact on the local tax base in terms of the upstart cost. So we'll keep you posted on that, but it was a pretty quick move into the second phase, so that's positive. Probably not going to get our whole ask there, but anything is a help. The fire chief position has been posted. If you haven't seen that, it's out there. It's been widespread on social media. We've got it on our webpage. We've got flyers here and there. We've agency directed communications and hoping that will generate submissions there. The first full week of September, we're going to start to review applications and then continue to accept them until we select a candidate. And we will have a small hiring committee, 3, maybe 4 people. We're not concerned about there being an odd number on there. Really, the reason why I don't have a composition of the committee is because some of the people that we might want to ask to be on the committee might be applicants. We don't want to stop the applicants from applying, or we don't want to discourage somebody that we want on our selection committee from applying because they might be one of the best candidates we have to consider. So when that time comes and we see who we have for applicants, then we'll finalize that. And it'll be me, fire officers, maybe a general member of the public. We haven't got the composition nailed down yet, but it's in the works. Burrell Hill Road, contractor has requested a road shutdown in the vicinity of 259 Burrell Hill to replace a cross culvert in full. I have agreed to that. It should be a part day shutdown next Thursday, the 25th. If it's raining, it would be the 26th. And then the only other remaining cross culvert that remains up there would be the day after. It doesn't require a full road shutdown. So a mailer went out to every property owner on Burrell Hill and the 2 side roads off from that, Haley and Swain. I think the only 2 side roads off from that. That went out yesterday. And we also copied notice up to county communications, our own department, and the town of Skowhegan for that, so that everybody's aware. Next Tuesday's TIF meeting has been canceled, largely due to a lack of new business. The library trustee meeting has been postponed. That's now on next Tuesday at 4:30. Usula Days will be here before you meet again. That's the Sunday, Monday before Labor Day. And their last organizational meeting ideally will be Tuesday the 30th. Down to the ball field, which didn't make it in the report. We did get fence repairs. We didn't get the total fence project done, but we did get the fence repairs done with the lift. And then also Luce is going to come back in next week and is going to grade everything off and reseed where we've got some bald spots and whatnot, make sure we're in good shape for soccer season. So I met with him yesterday to walk the site and see what we had for concerns. The major concerns aren't in the area where we play soccer, but we're going to address them all right now.
Nice. Good. Excellent. All right, discussion action on August 17th, general warrant number 16.
I move that we approve warrant number 16, amount of $216,823.75.
Okay. Motion a second. Any further discussion?
What's the St. Germain 15,750?
That is the engineer that fronted the project planning for the Bomsey Brook culvert. And so now that we've been awarded that grant, they're billing out for services. So we have to absorb that until we file for the grant reimbursement.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Special action on August 17th, airport warrant number 8.
Move to approve the airport warrant number 8 in the amount of $25,952.39.
Motion is second. Any further discussion?
Light bulbs. One case of light bulbs is only $600.
Yeah, those are runway light bulbs.
How long do those last?
They typically last about 2 years each. And we've got a couple hundred out there. Actually, with this, the availability of the light bulbs is getting more and more difficult. And so we're going to look to possibly convert those heads instead of replacing the whole fixture, just convert the heads to LED. The supply is more readily available. And then we'll also have a long-term cost savings for us.
Yeah.
But there's also a possibility we might be able to work an arrangement with Efficiency Maine, maybe to bump something into that. So I suppose light bulbs out. Typically, what we order will last us 2 years.
Okay.
Good. Anything else? Seeing none, all those in favor? All right, discussion action on August 17th sewer commitment.
We'll move that we approve the sewer commitment in the amount of $19,011.62.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Public comment. Anything from the public right now? Seeing none. All right, discussion action on junkyard renewal application 74 Smithfield Road.
This is the application of Zach Audette and businesses Audette Race Chassis and Recycling. This is a renewal application. I believe this is his 3rd year in operation. His initial permit went to you folks, Board of Appeals, and then was ultimately approved with these conditions as follows at the bottom of the draft. Actually, which you don't have in there. It's outside storage of salvage vehicles containing fluids is prohibited, and no more than 5 salvage vehicles are to be on the premises. That was something, a term that he had accepted as part of his application. So you have the ability to hold a public hearing. In 2021, you did not. You voted to waive that and grant the permit. We have not had any complaints, and a visual inspection of the property has been done by the code office.
Oh, okay, so he has been out, because that was going to be my question. He's been out, all the changes that have taken place out there, everything.
Yeah,
as it should be.
Correct. So it's sometimes you drive by and it looks like there's a ton of cars there. He is a racer, and those are legal vehicles. It's the junk vehicles that we're looking at, and he's been in compliance with that.
Okay.
And he's added additional shielding to the property, and he's also added an addition to his garage,
right?
Which has generated more traffic out there by the code office.
And the garages for work as well?
Yeah.
Okay, good, so they're doing good. That was my question out there.
Well, if he's following everything that we've asked him to do and there's been no complaints, then I don't see why we wouldn't approve it again. So I move that we approve the permit.
Yes,
Motion is second.
how many cars does he have out there?
So-
Limited to?
5 junk vehicles, unregistered junk.
Right, because they can race cars and stuff that are also out there, but those don't fall under it.
They can be indoors, they can be in his garage, they can be on trailers, they just can't be on the ground.
What classifies it as a race car?
Straight face test.
A lot of
He
it.
Okay. So you said it so fast, I was like, what the heck?
Cages and all that, and it's really not a car. It's
Okay.
cut off a scrap.
I was just curious, 5 very many cars.
No, it's not, and he's done a good job.
It was a self-imposed restriction that he placed on himself at the time, and he's still willing to keep it in place.
Okay.
So it's good. All right, motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's everybody.
I'm trying. No.
Okay, discussion action on extension of moratorium ordinance regarding commercial solar energy facilities.
Which tab is this one under?
There is none.
Okay.
This is the moratorium that was approved at town meeting that granted the planning board 180 days to draft regulations. You have the ability to extend it 180 days if they have demonstrated that they intend to propose regulation and they're making substantive progress towards that. My recommendation to you would be to extend the moratorium ordinance regarding commercial solar energy facilities for the additional 180 days.
So
Second.
motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's everybody. Okay, discussion action on opening local roads and that's ATV trails.
This is the business item. It's a continuation of your public hearing at the last meeting. The map that was presented at the last meeting is enclosed. You also have the existing trails, the local trails as they have been approved, with the exception, I think, in your packet of number 6, which you modified. You opened up the entirety of the Betterment Road. So that's in there. And then you also have one constituent letter that was really a wrap up comments that were made at the last meeting. And I did forward that to in advance of the meeting in this one.
A quick question. Is it possible just to get an overview, because we've been talking about so many things, I think I'm a little bit lost on this. We're looking at opening state roads, we're looking at opening town roads. Where are we in the process for both of those? We don't have the authority to open the state roads, but we've helped the Sportsman's Club submit a permit, or just a little, where do we start and where are we now?
Yeah, so back in July 6th, I think, is when you held your first public hearing about roads as trails, or requesting that roads be trails. The Sportsman's Association asked you to support their application to open up all state roads. The board voted to support that application, largely on the premise that it would be reviewed by the state, and the state would make the safety decisions about that, and then propose alternatives if there are any. And one of the initial conversations we've had is the north end of 201A, something that's very easily given up, and no benefit to Norridgewock folks, aside from trail access. So that was filed. It seems as though there was an administrative issue at the state where they didn't get that. They got our application. They did not get, or got to the wrong office, the application from the Sportsman's Association. The applications from the Sportsman's Association have been filed with the state. They are in review right now.
Yeah. So the state's dealing with that side of it.
Correct.
Perfect. Okay.
You had a public hearing at your last meeting about opening up local roads. Largely because the state is going to consider the local roads that are accessible now. And so it seemed to dovetail well in terms of what the town is going to look for in its ask, and then how the state would deal with that. So the state will consider opening up certain sections of road if local roads become trails.
So every year we authorize the use of those 10 roads that we've been doing for 10 years that get the ATVs and the four-wheelers to the trail or wherever they're going. And this is the primary purpose of opening more roads or all of the roads would be to get people access to the rail trail.
That's the request from the Sportsman's Association.
Right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So that's the gist. I don't know how the rest of the board feels. I mean, I'm on the ATV club, so I'm right in favor of this. Right.
I've heard from a couple of residents that I think the biggest concern is the safety aspect, and I don't want to diminish that. You know, like any demographic, you've got a certain percentage of our population that don't choose to do the right things, whether you're in the prison system or whether you're in, you know, whatever, public service. There's a percentage of people that are just not going to do the right thing. And I think to put restrictions on those people who are out there doing the right thing, they're doing the speed limit, they really just want to go get gas for their four-wheeler, or they just want to get to the rail trail, they don't want to do wheelies up Ward Hill Road at 60 miles an hour, which has happened. You know, those are the people that I really want to support this initiative for. I get the safety part of it. But I think the benefit right now for me outweighs, you know, if people on four-wheelers are doing unsafe things and they're conflicting with automobiles on a public road, they're going to lose that conflict. My concern is somebody out walking their dog, or somebody's doing stupid stuff and a four-wheeler hits them, then that's more of a concern to me, injuring a third person. So, you know, we talked about law enforcement, their ability to police this, and yeah, there are grants out there for the warden service to come in and work with Somerset County or municipal agencies to enforce targeted enforcement to make sure people are doing the right thing. But I really think that the Sportsman's Club has a vested interest in this, and if there are issues, it's going to be really important for them to clamp down on these for themselves and to police it themselves, because law enforcement doesn't have the capacity to be here 24/7. So I'm in favor of this. I have concerns about this, but I think it's going to be overall good. So
I think it's good too. I think you're going to find that people doing the bad things you might see an uptick with the more population of people doing it, but those people are already out there doing it. I mean,
they don't care if it's legal or not.
The people doing wheelies are doing it on
it's illegal.
Yeah.
So let's hope they self-govern, and then we retain the right for, I mean, if we do this for a season and it doesn't work,
we can pull it back.
Yeah.
And whether it's citizen driven or whether the board finds that it just doesn't work for us, you know, or it was too much. So to give it the best go initially. Sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
go with the right thing.
Go for it and reconsider it next year.
Yeah.
So excellent.
And as far as like pedestrian stuff like that too, I mean,
Okay.
I think they're loud enough, no one's getting snuck up on it, you know, when it comes to dogs, different things like that, you know. It's not like they're stealthy. Like that's the one I think of. They're super loud, so I don't think that anyone's gonna be like, wow, that came out of nowhere. I know those kind of, so I think that's yeah, that's true. Yeah. Hopefully it's like Darwinism. It's like it'll be thinning of the herd for the ones that are doing stupid stuff. Who knows?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wasn't going to open up to the public, but since I saw a hand, certainly, if you would just say who you are when you stand up, so the people online can realize.
I'm Ruth Keister, and I'm a resident, longtime resident. I'm just looking at this map. Will the current trails that are on this map still be maintained, or is that the purpose of the state roads being hopefully approved by the Sportsman's Club?
Oh, well, right now, everything that's there for trail is a town road. There is a small section of ATV trail that goes from the bottom of Winding Hill to the Benedict Road that the club loosely maintains, if you will. But other than that, it's dirt roads and paved roads, and the maintenance ultimately falls to the town group.
I have real issues.
Oh, yes.
I feel that the board is remiss in their obligation to the town as a whole. This is, to me and to many other people, not just a few, it's a glaring public safety thing. And yes, you do have kids pulling wheelies on the dirt roads, and that incident of that kind of thing happening is going to increase quite a bit, I think, and it'll be on the main route. That's another thing. A lot of the roads, well, the whole thing just flies in the face of all the state laws that are presently on the books. And people in ATVs have no insurance, oftentimes, not always. And they're on a highway. I mean, it's a danger to them if they're traveling from the outlying areas of town. The speed limit is 55, and these are little four-wheelers, and oftentimes the people driving them don't have proper protection, which is the same with motorcycles, and they're on the road too. But there's just so many things that are really an issue with this whole plan to put people out on the highways with not only their fellow townspeople, but people coming from all over parts of the country or wherever. It's just really a glaring public safety thing. And a lot of people feel like I do, not just a few. I've spoken to a number of people, and they can't understand why you would allow that, even consider it. And the other thing is Route 8 and the River Road have no shoulder. So these kids or people are not going to be on the side in the Freetown lane or whatever. They're going to be right on the road. And River Road is like a winding, hilly country road.
It's a dangerous road itself,
yeah.
Yes.
All of those points, to me, would lead you to reconsider. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. Anything else? I did open it up. Is anybody else in public? You can, yes, I'll give anybody the opportunity since I did open it up.
My name is Amy Washburn, and I would just like to clarify.
Here, everything's here though.
Okay, so through you to
just to me, yeah.
That on the map, the town has just approved only the blue roads, not the red roads. Those are state approval that the Norridgewock Sportsmen's Association is still waiting for.
Right.
So it's only the blue roads. It's not Route 8. It's not River Road. It's not 201A. It's just the roads on the map that are in blue.
For this, yes, it is. Thank you for clarifying, and I'll wrap it up. Anything else from the board? So all those in favor?
We don't have a motion or a second. I don't have a motion or a second.
Oh, you want motion? Motion
to authorize the opening of
So moved.
There's motion to second the floor. Any further discussion from the board? Okay, all those in favor? Right, moving on. Discussion action on sidewalk rehabilitation funding commitment.
So it's been probably a year or more since we discussed sidewalk upgrades and street lighting, way back to TIF committee 2 years ago. We want to see decorative lamp posts and things like that. Package has already been approved for funding. Then we have the opportunity to partner with Bike and Ped program, the State of Maine Department of Transportation, and Safe Routes to School or something to that effect, where they would come in and fund a large portion of the sidewalk project, which then would include street lamps and would also include the expansion of street lamps up and beyond Drew Cadaver's and Welch Street and Depot Street up to the bank. And they've designed this out. We're working with them right now to figure this out. So the project costs obviously have risen dramatically since we started the discussion. The local share right now for the proposed project on Main Street is $213,000, which is about what we thought we were going to be into it for. But then we proposed adding a segment of sidewalk from Everett's Tire Car Wash down to Usula Park. That it was that real connection to get from the school to the park and the playground that was important. So add that in. So we added that in. And the local share just of that section to construct a new sidewalk is estimated at $150,000 to $200,000.
Wow.
So double.
Is it gold?
Yeah.
Or is it pavement?
So it's the area of the
Bridge
road.
over.
It's getting you around the corner. You've got guardrail there. It's all new construction. So they're gonna want to go and do the full depth.
So is that just to like the entrance to the park, or is
It's
that
gonna be-
sidewalk down to the boat landing?
It's gonna get you down and off from Route 2. It's not gonna get you beyond Redemption. Yep,
That's our cost.
that's our share.
Total cost. I mean, is there
So,
a sharing?
well, yeah, so we would pay 213 on the base project and they're paying a little over $1 million.
No, right.
So they're saying it's gonna cost you $1.25 million to install a new sidewalk from the car wash to the park.
Wow. That's like as much as the entire downtown. Holy smokes.
We already have existing foundation and everything. They're really just gonna dig that out, put it.
Maybe we just put in like a fence, stay on the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
Can we do like, there's footing there, just stay on the side of the fence?
Tentatively, because they already had their first meeting, I told them that we were committed to doing our project, but that I couldn't touch the extension.
I mean, a fence can be cute, right? Can we not do a fence?
We can't because it's state road.
Right.
And it's
But
all
it's
about,
nice.
well, we would pay for all of it. Anyway,
So who maintains the sidewalk? We would
we
have.
maintain sidewalk.
Wow. I'm just wondering how much foot traffic you'd actually have. How do they get there now? They kind of chance it and walk down the side of the
You
road.
walk inside the road, I mean, think of every facilities coming right up.
Right.
Think about every person that comes around that corner from Everett's Head, every kid, every person walks that section, because you can't park down there.
Right.
It's a lot of money, and I'm not even happy to support it, but for our costs,
Right.
it'll never happen without the matching funds.
Right, with the OT on it.
200, that's car cost, so it's gonna be even more than that.
Yeah.
What's that figure?
Yeah, well, ballpark and then another $1 million.
Another, yeah.
Right, it's just, right, so we never have the 1.2 to put it in.
Right.
You know, we don't want to come up with the 200. Oh,
Can we use our funds for it since it's outdoor, like,
Yes.
so we do have
yeah, then there you go.
sources for
Okay.
that, and I.
Non-taxpayer funds.
The original approval, when we started this discussion for the base of Main Street was TIF.
Mhm.
We'd approved the lighting, we were gonna move ahead with that, and then when it came to that, we need to consider sidewalks and things like that, that's when we pump brakes.
Mhm.
And it's just been waiting for this, we applied for this grant and then we were successful. They were really excited about it because we don't have ADA crossings, we don't have safe routes to school. So we've committed really our share to the base project, and then we looked at that point in time to the economic advantage of, you know, getting down to the park. And they're willing to share, cost share with us.
Well, I mean, if we are already moving forward with adding in the docks and the swimming stuff, we're gonna put traffic going there. I don't see how we can help make that more easily accessible there, and we're not gonna have money to afford it otherwise. And if we have outside funding sources that don't affect taxpayer, be it either TIF or ARPA funds, I don't see how we can not move forward with this while we have outside funding. I mean, it's a big chunk of money, but if it's not gonna affect taxpayers, I mean,
Right.
it seems negligent not to take it. I mean,
Is this at like a discounted rate because they're already there, or would it, if they did it the following year, the same price?
everything's more expensive next year.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Is it like, well, we could, you know. expand it
150 to 200.
I think you're gonna find that the issue then is that we're not creating a safe route to school.
Right.
If you link it into this project, we're getting a safe route to
I
school.
gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So then you're looking at a different program.
Yeah.
That's why we're very
Makes sense.
successful,
Right.
because we're in a major intersection of the school.
Mhm.
So scope of the project is from the school to Cumberland Farms, or both sides, one side, little of both?
Where there is sidewalk,
Yeah, okay.
they also added in their scoping meeting, which I couldn't attend. Because you've got all the survey planning and everything else, which is planned for this year. They also are looking at the upper Main Street
Okay.
crosswalking area to get you over to the fire station. And they said that that was something they were going to include,
Okay.
that upper Main Street interchange, if you will. And then they're also understanding this would be a 2025 build out because of the construction that's planned on Route 2 and then the traffic lights at the intersection.
And that will include more street lights going down into Sludana.
The proposal is for, I believe, 35 35 new fixtures.
So that we'll have, I mean, because that will be nice to have fixtures going down into the park, because that's definitely a place where we need
There's
more.
no proposed fixtures on Scotty.
Right, there's no power there,
Right.
Okay.
I would guess.
Huh.
The 35 fixtures are strictly for Main Street.
Oh, okay. Because that would be,
And they've done a light study because it'll only fund accordingly. So it's about safe pedestrian, and it's cut down, and then they map it out as to what the spread is, and then they'll space them out for us.
okay.
So we save a couple of the lights that they're pulling out.
Put them down the park.
Yeah,
Really?
I mean, they're out.
Yeah.
there's no trade-in value for them, so.
Yeah.
When do we have to pony up the funds? When do we actually have to pay this bill? If we go along,
2025.
so we do, yeah.
I mean, if you are afraid,
Right, this is market price.
move it into a reserve fund.
Well, exactly, it just gives us, I mean, we're coming into doing budgets, and then with everything else.
So
Yeah.
this
$400.
$1 million, I mean, what are you getting as far as quality? Are they just kind of slathered over the top?
No, so
Yeah,
they're-
are these Kobe?
So what we did out here was about 60,000 is what was spent.
Right, okay, so they're gonna redo the curving.
Yeah, it's like granite curving again.
Okay.
Where there's granite curving, there'll be granite curving. There's discussion about expanding it the whole way down through, which elevates our cost because of the historic buildings and whatnot. That's all something that the state will tell you. Historic Preservation Commission tells us what we have to do. This includes all our engineering fees. We could either do it ourselves and appoint somebody to do it, but you know, state of Maine has them in-house, so we pay a nominal fee for that. That's cost shared with them. And then this is all your full depth reconstruction, curb replacement. It will be consistent the whole way down through. Right now, we've got bituminous on some parts, we've got concrete on others, we've got concrete that we've paved over. So yeah, when we did the overlay last fall.
Yeah. Yeah. It was last fall.
That was,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
so that was just the skim coat. That was like the best 25 grand we spent in 10 years on sidewalk maintenance because it was bad. But we knew that was the goal of that was just to get us
To this point.
to this.
And if pavement, if asphalt does what it did last year, I mean, this number could move around a little bit. This is a target right now.
I mean, on our local share, they've given us a 50 grand
Yeah,
swing.
crazy.
Right.
Good.
So my guess is that the 150 is what we'd probably be paying today. So, you know, liquid asphalt could come down and work in our favor. Could go the other way.
If it goes too high, at what point do we look at cobblestone?
Yeah. Oh, you maintaining that? Go to Belgrade Lakes in another couple of years and see what this
Let's
has.
go to the old port.
Right.
How it works out there with shovels, plastic shovels. What do you want to do with this?
I mean, I'm comfortable with it going through. I'm comfortable with our local share for the main school and up to the 200 on the additional piece of sidewalk. I mean, we have ample time to reallocate funds or look at what comes in and you know, how do we not?
Yeah, I just think it goes along. I mean, it seems like for the past couple of years, we've been really moving forward with trying to, you know, revitalize the downtown, or it's moving in the right direction of, you know, we want more foot traffic.
Yeah.
We've got to give those feet something to be on, you know, and if we have, you know, whether, you know, people are afford or not, if we're bringing more people in, whether it's from ATV traffic or if it's for new businesses like restaurants and pubs coming in, maybe people downtown, if there's more places on the go, if they're swimming down there, it makes sense.
Public safety. I mean, really, we need to give the public someplace to be safely.
I mean, if you can get something that's $1 million for 150,000, I don't know why. A bargain's a bargain.
Good deal. All right, what do you officially need on this? Do you need a motion?
Well, I would like a motion to authorize an expense of up to $200,000 for the town share of project costs related to extending the new sidewalk from along Skowhegan Road to Sewell Park, the source account to be determined.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's it. Okay, discussion action on disposal of tax acquired property.
All right, better late than never. The benefit of being late was we were able to get a lot of folks on redemption. Quick on redemption, we have one outstanding contract. They are current right now. So we've been battling delinquency on that, but they're current. The 180 Bigelow Hill Road has generated a lot of interest. This was one where we couldn't get service on the two owners. They were separated, they're out of state, they refused all communications from us. So we employed the attorney drafted all of these letters, all these curative notices, made sure we hit all of our I's and crossed the T's. We forced parcel delivery on these folks, and then we sent them priority mail, we sent them certified mail. We've given them the 90-day redemption period, which is now expired. They've done the title search necessarily to ensure that we've got all mortgage holders and parties of interest. The attorney has advised us that we are okay to proceed with the sale of 180 Bigelow Hill. That is a home on acreage. So there's very strong likelihood that this will generate a lot of interest. So if approved for this market, then this would be the packet. What you have is what we'll distribute for packet to the public. Bid number 2 is simply a mobile home in poor condition at 48 Benjamin Drive, I think. And I took pictures. It's storage or something to that effect, but it's tax acquired and the town doesn't really have an interest.
Okay.
So if there's no objection,
Is it just the trailer on the second one, or is there land with it as well?
just mobile. The motion, if it's your pleasure, would be to accept the 2 tax acquired properties and issue the notice of foreclosure sale as presented.
So moved.
Second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's everybody. Business. You guys have anything for other business? So under other business, I have, what is the actual name of that document there?
Yeah, sorry, right on top of that.
All right, so I've been looking at the Hale Farm Road, which is a private road. I think a few of the board is aware of it. Right, so road and entrance design standards ordinance. So we have an ordinance that dictates what we need to take a private road, make it a town road. I don't know if you've had a chance to go all the way through this. I know I haven't been through it in its entirety. What did our right-of-way land at on this? Was it the 48 feet each side or 6 rod?
So it's a 50-foot right-of-way that's in that section of road that exists. The ordinance would require a 50-foot right-of-way with a 20-foot traveled way width.
So they're only lacking on this particular road and maybe their 20-foot width.
Maybe
of surface, but they wouldn't have to extend their right of way on that one.
Right. So we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
This is Howell Farm Road is down across from the Solar Store. It goes in. Oak Brand used to own a few parcels on the right side. Those have since been sold off. On the left is Courier Drive. That's now owned largely by the Clarks and Scout. They own the land, and then their mobile homes on top. They own some of them. Some of them are privately owned. That road has long gone through to Pine Street, Rebecca Street, and then there's the barn down behind it, this Ketchum Homes. It's caused a lot of issues lately, especially in terms of who can go through, neighborhood disputes and whatnot. Matt asked me to look into what it might require in order for us to take that on. When you can consider the number of dwellings that are in there, it becomes a major private road, more than 10 households. It has at least a dozen. So that gives you a certain set of requirements. The expectation under the existing ordinance is that that road will be built up with X number of amount of base, surface, and then asphalt. It would have to be paved in order for the town to accept it. So Matt's question, I think, is, if we're ready to go to that, was, do you want to see this ordinance get changed in order to pick up a road like this in the town's best interest? Do you want to just see this remain a private road? Do you want to modify the requirements of taking on a road? Right now, the entire cost, in order for the town to entertain this, the entire cost would have to be by the applicants, which would be the people that live there. So they would base it, surface it, pave it, and then could deed it over to the town. Only if once they did that, then it would go to a town vote, the town could accept it.
So you see, it's quite a process, and not a realistic thing that it could ever happen. So really, do we want to look into modifying this, so opening us up to be able to accept roads? or for example of that Hato Farm Road, where it serves a public interest for it to be a public road.
Who owns the road?
So it's messy. So you get into all these right of ways and there's gonna people blocking the road and it's messy and it's civil and the town can't do anything and the cops can't do anything. So you get.
So how do you ask like, hey, can I maintain your road for you? Is there, there's a word for that?
You have to get everybody on the same page. No,
That is part of what would happen.
What do they call that when?
once the town is taking the road.
Yeah.
Right. That's a separate piece that would be handed.
Yeah.
It's really not the board for deciding if we're approached by the people that own this Hato Farm Road, whoever that is. Do we want to change this so that we can,
Yeah.
at its current standard, we could never get a road. Not that you want to take on or expand your maintenance, but as to where this particular road serves a public interest. Right.
Gotcha.
So this is the first time it's come up, and like I said, this is a pretty lengthy piece here.
So at that point, you have to get the residents that use the road that are a road association, which it isn't, it's a bunch of landowners. They have to come up with $350,000 to upgrade their road and pave it. That's never going to happen. So the question is, do we put a provision into our public road ordinance that exempts a road from that process?
Or do we just make it a bit more realistic as to where that's pretty intense, how I don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make it tie your hands.
Somebody has a road, private drive that's a mile long, and they say, hey, town, would you be interested in taking this over? We can just say no, or we can say yes.
Yeah, you don't have to.
What's the public benefit, I guess, is what we would look at.
Right.
And this is an emergency.
But right now, the fire department, that to be able to do it. Right. I guess, so change that.
Full transparency, the fire department can go on whatever road they want to.
Oh, yeah.
The fire department can take it down, and public works is gonna leave the right with whatever piece of equipment.
But if the road's blocked, if somebody's got an issue, if they block the road, the fire truck turns down there, you gotta run through the roadblock, and they gotta go around on Pine Street, which takes an extra 4 minutes, so.
Sorry. But that's the way it is on the Sewell Street. You go on one side of the Sewell Street and it's blocked off, and you go back the other way. So this isn't the only instance.
Sure, I understand that.
So that's why there's no like set case where you can say, oh, it's like this, we'll take it. And I think that's what this has done, is made it so it has to be just right, just so.
I wasn't here, but reading this ordinance implies that the town never wanted to take on any more roads.
Oh,
they adopted it, so they just make it unfeasible.
Or you get a developer that comes in and puts in a 50 lot, like what's going out Route 8? What's the mobile home park out there on Route 8?
Park Street.
Okay, is that a town road?
No.
It's not, but you look at how many homes are out there, 50, 60?
With this ordinance, if they were to build that out now, they would have to have that road.
Oh, exactly, I understand that, but I think that's probably a cookie cutter boilerplate language that we pulled out of some MMA website that we said, let's put that in place. And
right.
As far as being practical, no. What I wouldn't want to see is a town incur a ton of cost to build that road up to a point where we can even get a plow truck on it in the winter. Is it muddy? I don't know. Do the landowners want it to be public way with people using it? We don't know.
I think that's what's causing a lot of the problems on there.
Who plows it now?
It was Oakley brand.
Okay.
Oakley doesn't have an interest in that road anymore.
Yeah. So they have to hire somebody to plow the road, or somebody plows it.
Right. Somebody's going to plow it or not this winter.
And then there's a loop here.
Yeah.
All didn't plow it all the way
That's
through, that's
Yeah.
which is the Clark.
Yeah, the Clark's own,
Yeah,
yes.
which is privately maintained. They plow all that.
If you got around the old riffraff there, would you have to pave it? Or just
No.
take it on?
No, that's right. So the board or committee or whatever we deem would revise this to be a bit more. Yeah, so that's really was the point of this in other business, just to see if there was interest with the board for this to be looked at. And if so, how do we want to go about it? Do we want to do it internally ourselves? Do we want to kick it out to the road committee? I don't know the proper channels on that. I don't know if that would be worth there. insight on this?
The natural thing to do would be to send it to the road committee. Okay. I can very likely tell you it's going to be like the downtown maintenance. They're going to send it back to you and tell them that they have no interest.
Okay, but I don't want to discredit their opinions. So
You lost someone, I'm sure there's some.
Utilities, water, sewer down that road.
No, they don't have them. They don't have them.
They have a well and septic systems.
Are they public water?
So the water district has more long-term goals than we have funding for sure. But one of them is we would love there to be a public right-of-way down that road. Because if there was, then we would have the rights to put a water main connecting Route 2 to what's currently a dead end at the end of Pine Street and a dead end at the end of Rebecca Street. And anytime you connect up a bunch of dead ends, you promote flow, you reduce sediment, you increase water quality, less chance of freezing. There's all kinds of benefits to not having dead ends and water mains. It's been on our list over 15 years of something we'd like to do. It's never bubbled to the top, in part because none of us wanted to deal with the landowner situation, and we're used to dealing with putting pipes in public way. That's what we do. If it was a public right of way, it probably get higher on our list. We'd like to do it.
Would that open them up to tap the line? Would that open any of the residents on that?
The trailer park as a private service that goes in a ways. There's a hydrant in the very front left corner, not far behind your property, I think. There's a fire hydrant there, but the main doesn't continue. And everybody that's on Pine Street, Rebecca Street are customers. But those, Richard mentioned it a couple times on the right, yeah. It used to be Oakley's, I don't know who owns them, but those wouldn't be customers unless they figure a way to hook it up. We don't know.
Garden hose.
Yeah, people do.
So a pipe down that street would open them up.
It would be nice to complete the water main loop. We have another one, Wade Street, if you think about it. We have a dead end on 2 parts of Wade Street. We'd love to connect them together. Now that's not the same public right-of-way issue, but we like to get rid of dead ends where we can. Right.
I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah. And so it'd be nice.
So landowners would have to deed the town a right of way to expand that road, like they do for electrical pole maintenance, or they do for culvert, or they do for.
Without it being a town road.
So say the town was able to take that road over, we're going to have to increase the right of way there so we can maintain it, I guess is the point.
Under current standards, it doesn't say that we
would have a 50-foot right of way.
Okay. And the road is a 50-foot, 20-foot travel.
It is right now.
We may not have a 20-foot travel. Okay. It's got to be extremely close. There was a hand from the lovely young lady in front.
Well, no, I just also want to add that Todd's comment made me think of it, but the piece that connects Rebecca Street and Pine Street is also not public. So like that circle of Rebecca Street and Pine by the barn is not public access either. That's a private right of way. I know that the biggest concern is that people don't want to, part of the concern of that ordinance was that people did not want to lose property to expand to that size road. The right of way is deeded in its own private deed. It has its own deed. So in that deed, it says that owners of that right of way can petition the town to accept the road. That's only from research that I've done. But that piece of Rebecca Street also is an issue because you might be able to connect back there, but then that might be it. You might only be able to connect to the edge of that road and not continue to Pine Street or Rebecca Street because there's a square piece of road that might come into question. And though the person who owns that piece, she does not want to pay to bring the road. I mean, she basically is like, I'm not going to pay to bring the road up to code, and I don't want to lose any more property. And I get it. I mean, there's certainly plenty of room for 2 vehicles to meet, 2 trucks to meet, it's not 201A, but it's plenty of right of way.
So yeah,
Who owns the right of way?
Several people.
right, several people.
Okay.
I mean, right of ways are funny, right? No one
Yeah.
owns a right of way. Once it's given, there's always at least two parties
Yeah.
once it's initially been issued. So,
Yeah.
but that aside, I mean, you kind of have to remove the whole,
Yeah.
that's separate as far as for us here. Exactly, what we want on any given road, that's, we're approached. So is there interest?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay, so, do we want to do it in-house here and come up with a draft, or do we want to make a committee on that? And I mean, and you feel.
What is Richard's recommendation on that?
What is appropriate is to refer to the road advisory committee for their consideration. And if they should take it up, then great. If they say we don't want it and we recommend against it or whatever, then you bring that back up. It's all advisory. Yep.
Do you want a motion on that?
Sure.
So moved.
Second, there's a motion, a second. Send this ordinance over to the road committee for review.
And consideration of easing standards in order to consider accepting roads.
Yeah.
Like
Extenuating circumstances, under these circumstances, you know, like that.
Okay.
So moved.
Motion, a second.
And seconded, yes.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's everybody. That's all I had. Just leaves adjourn.
So
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? No, all those in favor? It's everybody.